Kellyanne Dolan Memorial Fund. Um, hey, everybody, Linda Bean from the Kellyanne Dolan Memorial Fund. Pretty excited today in our first segment of conversations with our beloved founder, Peggy Dolan. Hey, Peggy, how's it
Hi,
going?
Linda. I'm fine. How are you? It's exciting to see
Good,
you.
good. So wonderful. It's exciting to see you too. It's so wonderful. It's sunny day out. And, this is going to become part of a regular staple of our Shining a Light, where once a quarter we get to visit with Peggy and hear about what's going on with her, her words of wisdom, and any tips that she might have for our families out there. Peggy, 45 years almost, you have just been this shining star, a beacon of light in building this organization out of a tremendous loss of your beloved Kellyanne. This is such a difficult time for so many of our families who are feeling particularly isolated and navigating the challenges while they're caring for a child that's seriously ill or living with a disability. What words of wisdom, what would you say to them to kind of power through this time?
Well, thank God we never had to live through a pandemic while taking care of Kelly or even Kimmy when they were seriously ill. And I've just heard stories of so much courage going on out there. And it's strange that I'm getting this interview and being asked this question during March, which is our National Social Work Month. And for any of these families who are struggling, and I'm particularly concerned about single parents and the impact that the isolation is having on them and the financial stress is having on them if they've lost their jobs, to please stay in touch with your social workers. It's vitally important that you open up and let your needs be known, because I know that there are a lot of organizations out there that are willing and able to help you. So by all means, if you're proud and you don't like asking for help like most of us are, now's the time to let that drop, because it's not only an aid to you, but for people who want to help, it makes them feel involved and them feel valuable at a time when they know that so many people are hurting, especially families who have children with very serious and chronic illnesses and disabilities. It's awful. I mean, there's no way to get around it, but and that's why our fund exists. Because we do understand what happens in these cases, but even more so now during the pandemic, when so many have lost their jobs, are so isolated, don't have the assistance that they might have from friends and family because of the need to be quarantined. It's I just can't imagine the additional stress put on these families right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We know that our requests are up threefold. We've
Yep.
been able to respond by increasing our financial aid 150%,
And why have
respond to
we
these
been
needs.
able to respond? We've been able to respond because we have incredibly generous donors. And I have to say
Yes.
thank you for their continued support. Some of them are individuals that are longtime supporters of our work, who are heads of families, who really are compassionate individuals. And then the corporations that have helped us. And of course, the foundations who have supported our work all along and made it possible. So yes, you're right, Linda.
Yeah, yeah, it takes a village, those compassionate communities. We're so fortunate with the work that you have really kind
Yeah.
of paved the way. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about, at the Dolan Fund, we've had to pivot because we're not having direct, interface through our family fun days or things have changed in general. So we're just trying to raise awareness,
Mhm.
engage the community, reach our
Right.
families. How proud are you of how we've responded to the challenges presented by the pandemic?
Well, first of all, let me take this time to say, last night I was thinking about the fund as usual, and all of a sudden it dawned on me. I was saying I retired 4 years ago, but it's actually going to be 5 years ago, June, that I retired. And retiring, this was my baby. This is my daughter. This is my daughter's name that's on the fund, and to step away from it was like I was abandoning a child, and all the friends I had made
Mm,
throughout that time period. But I have to tell you, I am so proud of the way the fund has managed to stay afloat, especially and serve as many people as we have, especially during this incredibly challenging time. And we couldn't have done that without our staff, especially people like you. And how lucky are we to have Chris Dowdell now as our executive
mm,
director, who has I joke with Chris about, what was he thinking when he took over the reins? Of course, at that point, we didn't know we had a pandemic right in front of us. And to
right.
take over the work of the fund at that point, and to manage to keep it going this entire year, makes me incredibly proud. So number one, I have to give a big thank you to Chris Dowdell, give a big thank you to you. And now we have Darlene as our director of development, and she comes
Right.
with a lot of experience behind her. So I know she's going to do extremely well. And least I forget
Absolutely.
Danielle
Yeah.
Griffin, who's our program coordinator and a mom with a child with disabilities who understands fully, fully what our families are going through. And she handles all of the requests and stuff like that. And Danielle's been with us, I don't know, maybe 8 years, 10 years now. But
Yeah. Long time.
a long time. So I can sleep at night knowing that the fund is doing extremely well and managing this in the midst of not being able to do our typical things. Like about a week ago, I started getting these memories up on Facebook of our big event at Tamanin Middle School in Warrington. These are the kids that have been doing
Hmm.
that,
Yeah.
staff and the committee that's been holding this big basketball shootout for 21 years.
Right.
And they've raised over $500,000. I mean, talk about friendships and a connection and a partner. And we counted on them every February to do this big fundraiser that would bring in anywhere between $25,000 to $30,000 a year for us. And not only that, but people who remained close to the organization. This year, because they can't do it, they're doing something else. They're doing a trivia night, and they have all these different plans, and they haven't dropped the ball at all. I
No.
mean,
No.
how can you say thank you enough uh, to individuals like that and organizations like that?
Right.
You know? And
Well,
then
and
our
it speaks volumes. And I think about Peggy. I know this is your baby. When we talk about the spirit, and
yeah.
now the hornblower
Mhm.
cruise line, um, how beloved that is to you and our families to just get that moment. It's like a little slice of heaven
Yeah.
outside of the day-to-day challenges
Yeah.
of caring for a child with a serious illness. And
Yeah.
it would be about this time that we would be registering families, and it's hard, right?
Yeah. It is hard, and like I say, we don't do this work alone. Obviously, we've got these magnificent partners like the Spirit of Philadelphia that has since now moved to to Washington, D.C., where we hold the cruise and luncheon on the Odyssey, which is a magnificent ship. And then our holiday cruise on the Spirit of New York, right in the harbor. And then we were able to have it once in Boston before all of this happened. So to have 4 cruises on the East Coast for families, to give them that day of camaraderie with the other families that they meet, is one thing. And then we get the support of these clown clubs and have anywhere between 50 to 20 clowns on board entertaining the kids and the parents. And it's just a party on the river. It's a party that would not be able to be experienced without a 20-year partnership, which was started out first with Entertainment Cruises, and it's now called Hornblower, that is the parent company of these ships. And I know that they're disappointed as much as we are that we can't have that this year, because when you think about it, just in Philadelphia alone, we have about 400 parents and kids that celebrate the day and each other, and are so graciously appreciative to
absolutely
makes it happen.
I know it won't be the same, and we really look forward to the day as the numbers go down and the vaccines go up.
Right.
But the next best thing is to bring in a couple of our friends today. And how funny that the conversation turned the spirit. Look who's here. Delighted to have
that is
Bill Schrober, aka Shobo, and one of our beloved clowns.
I know.
And Ryan O'Connor from Hornblower Spirit and Day Cruises. Say hey to Peggy.
Hey, Peggy. Sorry, I don't have all the props with me.
Yeah, I know. You need a red nose. I should go get mine. It's in the kitchen.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So good to see you guys.
Oh,
it's great to see you.
Smiles.
Yeah, we missed you, Peggy.
Yeah. Next best thing. We're going to get back there. I'm confident, but
Absolutely.
What a joy to have Bill and Ryan join us today. So Ryan, I just want to kind of start with you. Let's talk about the why.
Yeah.
Why the Dolan Fund?
It's why not? It's such an amazing fund, and Peggy is such a ray of sunshine for us. And it's a date on our calendar that we look forward to every year. My shipmates, my crew, we talk about it constantly, and it truly is a highlight on our schedule every year. We certainly miss it this year, but we can't wait to get back cruising and welcome these amazing families on board the Spirit of Philadelphia. It's just a true joy for all of us. So we just can't wait to get back to it, Peggy.
Thank you. We can't wait to see you again, Ryan.
Excellent. Yes. Yeah.
Wow. These are great.
Yeah, and let's be clear, Ryan. This is, we're seeing some amazing footage of back cruises. Awesome. Let's be clear. This is something that you and your staff in 4 different cities and different states offer in kind to the family of fun.
Oh, yeah.
Which is just incredible. And I believe your staff, when they staff a cruise, they're volunteering. They're not being paid.
Absolutely. Yep. All of our crew and shipmates volunteer for the cruise, and we have more than enough shipmates to go around, and they bring family members. My wife has been on board. My parents have joined us. We have aunts and uncles and children of our shipmates and crew that join these cruises. And, it is such a highlight for us. We truly love doing it and seeing these families come on board with all the smiles. And, a lot of times it's the first time for many of them that they're on a boat. So to welcome them on board and have the captain welcome them on board is just such a highlight for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an incredible feeling. Bill, something about bringing smiles to children and their families and caregivers. What's your special gift there? I mean, you've got it going on for sure.
Well, I do wear a lot of hats. And one of the hats that Peggy got me involved in too is being so that comes with the nature of being, the big guy, But being a clown, it's by nature doing that, bringing more fun to more people. And the Dolan Fund is by far my favorite event to do because of the smiles we bring, the smiles we get back from the people, the smiles Peggy gives us. If she tells me to jump, I just ask her how high. So like when she was introducing the other, because we were with Philadelphia, the Spirit many years, and then when she said, "Oh, we're going to do Washington and we're going to do DC," I said, yeah. Okay. So I just reached out to a whole bunch of clown friends, and they just jumped at it because I told them my experience with the Spirit of the Dolan Fund and how good it is to bring joy to other people, and they just jumped at it. So far so good, but can't wait to get back.
I know. We can't wait to see you. I have to just interject here. I just saw a message from Andy Barslow thanking us. Andy was a former board member whose twin sons were born prematurely. And Andy and his kids, his wife, had come on the cruise the one day. Now, his kids were in and out of the hospital all the time, and they had gone through extreme situations. So when he came on that day with the kids, in the middle of the cruise on the Spirit of Philadelphia, he came up to me and he said, "Peggy, I finally get it." And I said, "What do you mean you finally get it?" He said, "I know now what our fund is all about." And I looked at him like he had two heads. I thought, what are you talking about? You're a dad that's been through the extreme, for several years. And he said, "No, this is different." And it is different because it's different in the way that the families connect. They really connect with each other during it all. And I remember the one time when I was on the cruise in Philly, and there was a young girl watching all the activity, and you know what that's like on the dance floor. Mm-hmm. And she just stood there and smiled. She was all by she smiled. She may be 14 years old, one of the siblings. And I went up to her and I said, "Are you having a good time, honey?" And she said, "Yeah." And she was just like starstruck. She said, "Yeah." She said, "This is my first time on a boat." And you don't even think about that kind of stuff. It is such an impactful time. And one year after a cruise in Philadelphia, I got a note from the mom with a picture of herself, because that's what happens. You take the pictures of the families before they go on, and then they have a keepsake in a framed folder when they get home. But she sent me a copy that she had received, and she said, "I just wanted to thank you and the Kellyanne Dolan Fund so much for making this happen." She said, "This is the last picture I have of myself and my two children." She said, "My son died 3 weeks after the cruise." And I mean, and that's just it, because you don't know. These kids are so seriously ill. They're coming on with their oxygen tanks. They're coming on ventilators. They're being suctioned while they're on the cruise, and yet these parents are smiling and their siblings are smiling because they never have the opportunity to do this. Yeah. And people like Bill keep them smiling, make it such a joyful, memorable event. I mean, you can't package that. You just can't package it. And, as an organization, to have that year after year after year is simply amazing. You can't even express the amount of gratitude and appreciation you have, for that. So, yeah.
No, you can't. You can't. And our families, months and months before, always knowing that time of year is kind of rounding the corner and will be calling and saying, is the list out? Can I get my name on the waiting list? And it's just, as I said, just a little slice of heaven. And Ryan and Bill create such an atmosphere of care and kindness and normalcy that it's a memory that these families take forever. So, Bill and Ryan, we know that Peggy has a way with everyone. You know, she doesn't take no for an answer. So, as you referenced that, Bill, tell me what Peggy Dolan has meant to, I'm going to give this to each of you, but I'm going to start with you, Bill. What does Peggy mean to you?
Be nice, Bill.
Yeah, Peggy is just an unbelievable person. When you see someone like that, you want to gravitate to them. She's unselfish. She's caring, thoughtful. Like I said, when you see someone like you want to gravitate to them, and you want to be like them. So,
yeah. Thank you, Bill.
I'll send you a check. Will you send
Yeah, checks in.
Nice. Ryan, I'm going to give you a go with the same.
Sure.
What does Peggy mean to you and the hornblower community?
Yeah, no, Peggy's a true inspiration. She truly is. And, like Bill had mentioned, just the second she comes on board, just the families that want to talk to her and sit down with her, and including our staff, they love, thanking her for bringing these families on board. And, I love just sitting down and spending just a minute or two chatting with Peggy. And that's how everything kind of grew to the cruise in DC and New York and Boston. One of our regional vice presidents was in town for one of our Kellyanne Dolan Fund cruises, and sat down with Peggy and said, this is amazing. This is such an inspiration to us, to our crew, to our shipmates, that we have to do this in our other cities. And, that year, we had I believe our DC cruise and our New York cruise. And then, we were lucky enough to do a cruise in Boston. So, I wish we could do this everywhere. With all 18 ports throughout the United States, I wish we could do it everywhere, because it's not only such an amazing feeling for us as a crew, but just the families. You can see the stress and the worry kind of melt away when they come on board. And it's such a carefree afternoon. I love the smiles. It lasts, for the entire year. One day truly just warms my heart for the entire year.
Yeah. Well said, Ryan. I think maybe Peggy can add, she may not know this, but she also may add a little bit of a matchmaker quality to her. Ryan, I think you've got a great story back from the early 2000s that Peggy may or may not know about. Share with us.
Yeah, certainly. I'd love to share this story. So, it was the early 2000s, and I had just started dating this wonderful girl named Kristen. And, I said, hey, this Sunday we have this amazing cruise with the Kellyanne Dolan Fund. And, these deserving families will be coming aboard, and we're all volunteering. And she jumped right up and said, oh, I have to do this. This will be amazing. And I said, great, come on board. And, till this day, she became my wife. We have 2 beautiful children. But to this day, she still comments on, just her watching me, interact with these families, and the compassion that my entire team shows to them really lifted a spark for her. So she was very new in a relationship, and it turned into a beautiful marriage and a beautiful family. So thank you for that, Peggy.
Isn't that's great? I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
You actually
Isn't
started
that a great story, Peg?
Yeah, when Bob Gregory was there.
Yeah. I was on the sales team then. So
it's always been led by such incredible people. I mean, just such incredible people. But the staff, I'm glad we mentioned the staff. Every year when I go on, they'll come up to me and they'll hug me and greet me, and invariably I'll hear more than one time, this is my favorite event of the year.
Yep.
So for them, even though they're volunteering, and it's a Sunday afternoon when they could be relaxing. And many times they volunteer for our event. And as soon as our event is over, they're cleaning up the ship because then they're going to work the next shift. So it's a long day for them. And such a great group. I mean, it really, I wish everybody could have this experience. Just to watch it.
Sorry, Peggy, to interrupt. It's such a labor of love. You mentioned earlier, Bill, you have been behind the scenes in mobilizing the clowning community for decades for this event. And you just have a way, like Peggy does, in not taking no for an answer and, bringing this abundance of, carefree humor, balloon animals that just spark the light in a child. Share some of maybe your favorite memories.
I just love trying to make it normal for people, for the kids. When I go there, I always try to gravitate to the siblings, because I know a lot of attention's paid on the ones with whatever affliction they have or something like that. So I pay attention to the siblings to make them feel part of everything. That's probably my highlight. Another highlight is actually in the parking lot afterwards. After everything's all done, after all the fun and games and everything, I get to exhale and just have memories of the smiles and the laughter I got, and that's gold. that is so much what we feed off as clowns in general. My job is getting more people to come is not hard at all, because clowns in general are loving, caring people, and they want to have people be happy and fun, and so it's not that hard to say, hey, you want to have some fun?
That,
so
I've been witness. Yeah, I've been able to go on several of the family fun day cruises, and I have to say, you also give us tugs. Kids just kind of fall into your embrace, and without blowing any covers, you also really have become a staple of our holiday Adopt a Family program. We'll just leave it at that. Ryan, any favorite memories before we kind of move towards a few closing questions?
Yeah, I really enjoy every single one of these cruises, but my favorite part is when these families are boarding the cruise. Typically we have our captain in uniform, standing at the end of the gangway there, and Peggy's right next to me, and just seeing their faces light up, not only, on coming on a boat and seeing the captain, but just seeing Peggy. You really truly see how much Peggy means to these families. So that's definitely my favorite part, is just seeing everybody coming on board. And then, another great part, and we showed a video of that, is we do a bye-bye line. And my team stands and claps as all of our guests are coming and disembarking the vessel. And, they're all thanking us. The families are thanking us. So what a just, all in all, just an amazing experience. And I have so many fond memories.
I'm glad you mentioned that,
what
Ryan.
I love about what you've both.
Yeah. That bye-bye line when they create an aisle and the families have to walk through it, and the families it makes them feel so special, and you can't help but smile big time during that whole exit. So
well, I love what you've all shared in terms of, we've talked a lot about what this means to families, but I think you've all really captured, in a nutshell, the intrinsic rewards for us, that, the takeaway, what these incredible families in their day-to-day struggles have taught us about compassion and kindness, and what really matters to each of us. And so thank you for sharing your stories. I always try to keep it positive with my shining a light, but we can't avoid the fact that the last year has been just a shift and a challenge and a lot of darkness, not just for our families, but for many in adapting. And both of your businesses, I think about you, Ryan, with the restrictions around COVID. I think about you, Bill, in your ability to get out to community events. It's really been shut down. So tell us what's going on, what we can look forward to with each of your crafts and businesses. Ryan, I'll give you the floor first.
Great. Yeah. I say this often that, March 17th was one of the toughest days of my career. It was the day that we had to, shut down operations and, make some very hard decisions. So, we've basically been shut down for the year. But we're so excited. We're starting to welcome back our crew and shipmates again, and we'll be opening up on Easter weekend. So April 2nd will be our first dinner cruise, and of course, we have our Sunday Easter brunch with the Easter Bunny. So we've taken this time to really safeguard our product. We have an industry-leading safe cruise, where all of our guests as well as our shipmates and crew will have the appropriate PPE and sanitation practices. And so, we're excited to open up again here in April and just provide a safe environment for all the families that would like to, get out on the water again. So we're extremely excited, and we can't wait to invite back the Kellyanne Dolan Fund. We need to get a date on the calendar, Peggy.
Yeah, we're going to get it.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ryan.
Sure.
Cannot wait. How about Bill?
Yeah, well,
Bill?
nothing's been happening. Although the other character, the red guy, he was in a bubble all season, or masked up and 6 feet apart. So
Nice.
he was kind of busy all season, but nothing like years past. Not able to hug a kid. Kids don't understand that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, this year's special. So we haven't done anything in the clown world other than all of our conventions have been canceled, COAA, World Clown. So now they're doing everything virtual. As far as me, I'm doing a lot of virtual stuff now. Trying to do that for churches, trying to get stuff out for them. But I have been getting some gigs for some shows. They're starting to open up a little bit. I got my first vaccine shot, so I'm
good for you.
coming. So I think it's going to get better soon, but we just have to be safe.
I think so. And you're going to be getting a call from Ambler Main Street manager. I know they're interested in your little red guy role.
We're ready to go.
Awesome. Well, what a joy. Surprising Peggy today on her first Shining a Light conversations with Peggy. We couldn't have picked a better topic, two of her beloved friends, and we're going to get back there. We're looking forward to all being together. So thank you both for taking the time out of your day to share some of your memories. And we're looking forward to all being back in person. So have a great day, guys.
Yeah, pleasure.
I
love
Peggy's giving you a virtual hug. That's awesome.